The NFC East Fantasy Football Preview and Best Bets edition of Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with promo code OFSGPN to claim your special pick, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code OFFSGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old-fashioned football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake-eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old-fashioned football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, this is J Mark. You can find me on the X at J Mark Football, and us is at Old Fashioned FB. Before I keep going to talk about the NFC East, the NFC Least maybe, or Beast, you decide. Got to bring in my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark. How you doing today?
Doing great. It's been a crazy Thursday, and I'm ready to just jump right in today. I don't know about you.
It has been a little bit of a crazy day, and we do have a guest we're going to bring on in just a little bit who's going to make some of our best bets with us. He said, to hell with that fantasy football. I'm all about the gambling, man. So we're going to have some
bringing it to the front of the show today.
That's right. So best bets will be right away, but we're on 4 of our 8 division previews. This is the last.
Oh, it's taking the words out of your mouth.
Go ahead.
Last division in the NFC.
It is. And if you haven't watched the other 3, they're out there on YouTube. They're out there on your podcast platforms. That's the great thing about the off season. You can listen to it at any time before your drafts. Maybe you're going on a long drive like we are to South Dakota this weekend. Actually, we're heading up to Storm Lake. We got about a 2.5 to 3 hour drive as soon as this show is over. So you won't see us drinking a lot of whiskey, unfortunately. But anyways, we're talking ADP, AAV, and best bets. Miranda, the NFC Least, what teams are in that?
Threw me with the least. We've got the Eagles, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Commanders.
Who are the Commanders is what our guest is going to say. And like I said, we're not drinking today. We were drinking a little Keeper's Heart. Check our socials to see more from them tomorrow.
Tomorrow we've got something coming.
That's right. And real quick, before we talk about our best bets and bring our guest on, got to let you know you're listening to Old Fashioned Football, of course, but Sports Gambling Podcast Network has a ton of different shows. And join Noah Beanick on the College Baseball Experience live streaming each night on YouTube or available for download on all podcast platforms for daily coverage and picks for the greatest show on dirt, the College World Series, until the end of June. And I have not found somebody that does not like Noah. I mean, he's just one of the most likable guys. Also, the Circa announced they're giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes for Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Sign up in Vegas and play from anywhere with footballcontestproxy.com promo code SGP to get $50 off. That's footballcontestproxy.com promo code SGP. Okay, before we get too carried away here, let's by the way, Nick in the chat, good evening, J Mark and Murr. What do you think my wife will bring me home for supper? You should be at home making your wife food.
Yeah, if you're home and she's coming home from work, what are you doing? Make your wife a good dinner.
That's
Come
right. Our guest, you've seen him on our show. I think he was on our 100th episode. He popped on, and you've seen me with him on the NFL Gambling Podcast when we did that. You can find him at the College Experience. He's got a shit ton of podcasts. He's going to have to tell you about them all. He actually just did a really good interview with Coach Cabrera for Northwestern State, I believe it was, Demons. Really good interview. I got to listen in on that one, jumped in the comments there, and I thought it was really good. He did a great job. So without further ado, let's welcome Moneyline Mac. Ryan, how you doing, man?
What is up, guys? And first off, who are the Commanders? You named it, J Mark.
Who are they?
I don't know that. That's not my team.
Right.
Oh.
Now, so the in the Canadian Football League, the Edmonton Eskimos, there were a lot of indigenous people that wanted that name changed. The Washington Redskins, there were no indigenous people saying, "Hey, let's change this." In fact, they want to bring it back because the person on the helmet was actually a tribute to an actual Native American. So I don't know why they changed it.
Yeah, I know. We don't need to go down this rabbit hole. For those watching, they probably tuned in when I would bitch about it every other show. So we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But we're talking the NFC Beast. I mean, this is the best division in football because you've never had a repeat winner since 2004. I
Yeah,
mean, this
no,
is a league, a division of parity.
right? And you're a Washington fan. I won't say a Commander fan. So I mean, every year you can say this could be our year.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, what was it? 2020. I think we were like 12-1. We won the division. 2012. In 2016, we were like 8-1, 9-1. So I mean, it's crazy things happen in this division. Sneak peek. I can guarantee who I will not pick. They won the division last year, and so everybody can go research who won the division last year.
I got to ask you a quick question. You guys drafted Jaden Daniels, but you also have Sam Hartman, who you added. Now, the last time the Commanders added two quarterbacks, one was RG3, one was Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins ended up being the guy. Is that going to happen again? Should Sam Hartman shares in fantasy football?
Yeah, well, I mean, I do like Sam Hartman. I liked him at Notre Dame. I really liked him at Wake. It's going to be interesting because he transferred to Wake because he wanted to, or he transferred from Wake to Notre Dame to get out of that unique offense and try prove that he was a pro quarterback. So he's really only been out of that offense for 1 year. I think he's going to be a good backup in this league. I hope that it's not the deja vu because when you invest in a number 2 pick, you usually don't want them off your team in 3-4 years like RG3 and Chase Young over the last decade. So we're over 2 on number 2 picks getting to their 5th year.
Are you happy the Bears took Caleb Williams so that he did not go to Washington?
Yeah, I am. I was not the biggest Caleb Williams guy. So I personally wanted JJ McCarthy. I think I was in the minority, but hey, Daniels is the guy, and I'm gonna give him a shot, man. He's entertaining, I can tell you that.
There you go. Well, we brought you on to talk best bets because, from the NFL gambling podcast to college football, college basketball, you get a lot of insight on bets there. So you want to kick us off?
I will, and we're going to go right to the team that won the division last year. And like I said, this is kind of a zigzag division. We're going to go under 10.5 wins for the Dallas Cowgirls. And this isn't, I'm not just saying this because I hate the Cowboys, but they lose Dan Quinn. I think that's a bigger loss than what people are making it out to be. And like I said, this division has a way of evening itself out. I felt like Dallas has overachieved the last 2 years. I feel like they're due for some regression, and they didn't do anything in the offseason, and a lot of just drama with Dak's contract situation and just a lot of unknowns. So I could see Dallas getting back to that 9-8, 8-9. So yeah, definitely my favorite one, under 10.5 wins for the Dallas Cowgirls.
Nice. I like it. Their offensive line is not as good as it has been in the past either. They lost some key pieces. So that'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Things are not pointing in the right direction in Dallas. It's been a weird offseason. You thought that they were going to add, but I guess they really are kind of limited on the cap, which is how they've constructed their contracts.
Yeah. Miranda, do you want to kick us off with your first best bet?
I suppose we'll get that one out of the way. I know I gave out Caleb Williams as Rookie of the Year on the NFC North pod.
Mm-hmm.
Like it.
But I'm just gonna say this. The nice thing about these plus money bets is that you
double dipping.
I'm double dipping. And before I get shit from you, I'm gonna say you can take 2 of these and you can still make money.
True.
So Jaden Daniels is likely getting the starting job right away, and they have offensive pieces like Terry McLaurin, and right now he's plus 600. It's the second odds behind Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb's a favorite.
And he's at plus 135 right now. So I think it's going to end up being one of those 2. So I'm going to add in Jaden Daniels at plus 600 to win Rookie of the Year. And so I've got both of them
Woo.
Both of them.
And
in there.
Caleb Williams dropping a lot there because when he was drafted, we said take it at plus 225. I think it was when we did the NFC North pod 2 weeks ago. I think it was plus 175 then. So he's getting more and more favorite. So, I mean, hey, I like the plus 600 odds. What do you think, Ryan? Is he gonna be able to put it together right away?
Yeah, I was. She stole my next one from me. I
no.
had Jaden Daniels as a rookie of the year candidate. He kind of fits the bill. These guys that are dual threat that kind of come out of college. We saw C.J. Stroud light the league on fire last year. I'm not saying Jaden Daniels is C.J. Stroud, but he kind of. I just the way that he throws the football, where he's able to move in the pocket. I really like him in this offense in year number one, where there's not enough film on him yet, and the Skins invested in their offensive line too, and they always had weapons with McLaurin, Dotson as well. They could run the ball, so yeah, I expect a big year for Daniels, and he's definitely worth that 6-1 stab right there.
I think having the veteran like Austin Eckler to throw out of the backfield too has some sneaky value for him. I know Eckler doesn't look as explosive, but as a guy that can bail his quarterback out if he needs to, I think he's a good piece that they added.
Yeah. Eckler is, like you said, a quarterback's security blanket. For years and years, whether it was with Rivers, Herbert, it's going to be weird not seeing him in LA. I'm not going to lie. So I'm glad he's on my team now.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm still like getting used to the fact that the Chargers are not the Chargers that I am used to.
They're so different. That's for sure. I'll give my first bet out, and this is not a sucking up to money line podcast, but he's going to like this one. I think, the Cowboys have probably the worst offensive line they've had in years. They've got questions at running back. They have one wide receiver that's a constant threat in CeeDee Lamb, and that's kind of it, in my opinion. If their defense takes a step back, they're going to struggle. I also don't know why, but I feel like the Eagles are going to regress a little bit. I think Jalen Hurts, we talked about this on the NFL Gambling Pod. Jalen Hurts is slowly morphing into Dak Prescott. You call him Jalen Prescott.
Yeah.
So give me the team that added a bunch of new pieces in the offseason. They had a huge offseason between the draft and free agency. The Washington Commanders to win the division at plus 800. It's 8-1. And I know it seems like just a shot in the dark, but like you said, there's never a repeat winner. They have a lot of young talent, but they also added some nice veteran pieces. I could see them stealing this.
Yeah, they win it every 4 years. 2012, 2016, 2020, it's 2024, baby. It's like the election years. And we win it in the election year. So yeah, I definitely think they're worth a stab. And you mentioned all those veterans, guys like Eckler, Ertz, and Bobby Wagner that have been in winning locker rooms before, culture guys. So, and I like Dan Quinn, man. I think he's going to maximize it. And I know he'll bring more energy than our friend Riverboat Ron did at the end.
Poor Ron. By the way, Nick saying that Daniels will not be the starting quarterback. It'll be Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan officially retired.
Yeah, thank God.
All right, what's your next bet if we haven't stolen them all yet?
Well, you kind of hinted at it, and I know people are falling in love with Saquon Barkley going over there, and they seem to always I don't know if they pay them to give them good ratings in the offseason. Everybody always falls in love with the Eagles in the offseason, but they finished the year like shit. They lost, 6 out of 7 down the stretch. They're at 10.5 wins as well. I want to go the under with the Eagles too. So I'm under on both the Cowboys and Eagles. We mentioned it. This is the division of regression. The Eagles, I thought, finally started regressing. I think they take another step and they're around that 500 mark. I just think that they're aging in their secondary, and I think Hurts is regressing as well. So yeah, give me the under with the Eagles as well. Them and Dallas have the harder schedules as well, being first and second place the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I think you can, not all year, but it seems like at some point in the offseason, the books let you parlay win totals. So might as well even parlay those two together in a fuck the Eagles, fuck the Cowboys parlay.
Hey, and they're gonna miss Jason Kelce. I forgot to mention that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best center in the game, and they actually got to get 10 yards. They can't get 9 yards and just do a tush push anymore.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mur, what do you got for your next one?
All right. My next one, I'm looking at the Cowboys, and I like this bet because they can be bad or worse than they've been in the past couple of years, and it could still hit. So I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb to have 1,750 receiving yards in the regular season. Now, last year he had 1,749, so he was a yard short. And I think they're going to need to pass the ball more this year, due to being like behind and not as good. And you can get right now the 1,750 yards for CeeDee Lamb at plus 400, and I really like those odds.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, as much as I don't like the Cowboys, he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. He gets thrown to a shit ton by Dak and bails Dak out a lot. And like Nick's saying, CD equals Cowboys offense, and that's true. So, yeah, even if they're bad, they're still going to have to throw the ball.
The team sucks,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean
right.
he won't get those yards.
Yeah, and those are juicy odds at plus 400. I like it.
I mean, and honestly, sometimes the better the stats for the wide receiver, the worse the team, because that means they're behind. So I like that as well.
Yeah. All right. My next one, I decided to put a little, we're always pushing underdog. We'll talk about underdog in a little bit here. Use promo code OFFSGPN, but I put a little pick'em entry together because you can get NFL season stuff and kind of combine it all. So, Jaden Daniels higher than 500.5 rushing yards. I do think he has elite rushing ability. He's similar to Fields where he runs very fluidly. He throws a lot better than Fields. I'm not trying to insult you, money line. As much as I love Fields, I do think Jaden Daniels is a better prospect. Malik Neighbors higher than 5.5 receiving touchdowns. That's just based on the fact that they got to throw to somebody, and I think it's going to be Neighbors. Saquon Barkley, higher than 7.5 rushing touchdowns. The tush push is not going to work as well anymore, so they're going to have to use Barkley. CeeDee Lamb, I'm adding him in this. You have him at 1,750, higher than 1,399.5. So if mine hit, or if yours hits, mine easily hits. Those four combined together is 10 times your money. It's plus 1,000. So I like that to just take a season-long stab on a couple different teams there and a couple different players.
I like it. Yeah. I mean, this is the best time of year because you have these odds are so long, and it's take a couple stabs, and it kind of you'll see my third one, my third and final one, that I'm kind of forecasting how I think this division is going to play out with it being so evenly matched. All
right, well, let's get right to that then. What's your third?
It's a good tease, man. I'm used to playing off one another. All right, so we gave out the Skins to win the division. And I'm not just saying this because Kramer is our boss. I actually think the Giants are worth a stab. I think the Giants, yes, they lost Saquon Barkley, but I think they're better defensively this year. They bring in Brian Burns. I think also Daboll, I think people are underrating how good a coach he was. For them to still win 6 games last year with no quarterback, I mean, they had fucking Tommy DeVito playing quarterback for the second half. Yeah, he was winning games with DeVito, and I think Dan Jones is better than he played in the first 4 games. I thought he was good 2 years ago. I think people fell in love with him in the preseason last year. Nobody likes him this year. So I'm gonna hop on the Giants. I know they lose Barkley, but they bring in Devin Singletary, who's familiar with Daboll. And I just think in a crapshoot division, give me the Skins and Giants to have a shot to steal this division at 6-1, and then I'm seeing the Giants at 1 book 10-1. So, I mean,
nice.
I don't think that they're that far off. I don't think the bottom 2 teams' public perception is that far off from the Eagles and Cowboys up top.
Yeah, I like it. You mentioned Devin Singletary. We're going to talk about him when we get to fantasy football, but a lot of people saying like, oh, he's not Saquon, and he's not, but he has experience in Daboll's offense, and he has had success with the Bills in that offense. So I don't think he has to be Saquon to still do well and have success there.
Completely agree.
Well, man, we appreciate you jumping on for some best bets. Why don't you tell everybody what you got going on right now?
I don't know what I got going on. I was just here to drink some beer with you guys. Go check us out at the College Experience. We're doing our summer coaches tour where you bring on a bunch of head coaches from the Division I level. So it's a new series that we're doing. It's good to get some coaches on here and kind of just get us ready for the college basketball season. And then we're covering college football all year long. Some of these guys that we're talking about, we watch them at the collegiate level. And Noah's breaking down college baseball. And West Virginia fans right here, go check out the Ryan and Rush show. So,
Yeah,
J.
for
Mark,
sure.
Miranda, appreciate you guys having me on. And always good to stop by Old Fashioned Football.
Yeah, we love having you here.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome back anytime. Make sure you give Ryan a follow at Moneyline_Mac and go check out that Coach Cabrera interview because I thought it was really good. Just as like a takeaway, something I really liked was he talked about he was focused on bringing in good guys, their character, focused on their character. Give me good character guys. Cause like you said to him, you can teach the X's and O's. You don't have to worry about those late night phone calls from the cops, And I thought that was really cool. He had a really neat perspective.
Absolutely. And we got a bunch more coming on. So appreciate you guys having me on and have a great rest of the show and safe travels this weekend. Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you guys.
All right. And I'm just going to catch up with the chat real quick. J. Mark, what did you cook Murr for dinner?
Nothing.
That's not true.
No.
We have leftover spatchcock chicken that I cooked during our last episode.
Well, we haven't eaten tonight, and he didn't. You have not. You
I
didn't,
haven't.
So you're feeding me leftover.
Yeah.
Spatchcock. Leftover
excuse me.
spatchcock.
Which visit our social media if you missed what that was. That we put out a fun short today of what a spatchcock chicken is. But yeah, so we have that for dinner. And excuse me, I jumped right from the UFL gambling pod.
Excuse me.
To this.
I jumped right from work to this.
Look at the fight you started, RD. Hi, Mac. You just missed Mac. Hi, RD. And of course, hi to J. Mark and Murr. That's from my mother, who is at the Keeper's Heart Distillery.
Yes, which we have some content we're releasing, partnering with Keeper's Heart tomorrow. So everybody, please check that out. We love us some Keeper's Heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just checking an update here. If you've seen the CFL gambling podcast that I'm part of, the Ottawa Red Blacks are currently winning 13-3. Let's go Red Blacks. They were my dog. Miranda, before we keep going and talking about the fantasy football, that we're gonna move a little quicker through than we have been because we
can't see this.
We got to hit the road. We got to hit the road soon. So, let's talk a little underdog fantasy.
All right, let's do it. We are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, and Pick 8 is now live for the NBA Finals. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries. Yeah, you can't see this, but Justin's trying to flex over here. You're flexing. Sorry. So you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. And the best part is you can win up to 325 times your original amount. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone.
Yeah, and you can combine sports too. You got NBA, MLB, NHL, UFL, CFL. They have Canadian football. I just released a short giving out some picks on that are going to hit this weekend. Just go sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code OFFSGPN. All right, we are.
I wasn't trying
back.
to insult you.
You were insulting.
We all know
me,
you've got the muscles.
Trying to. We live on a farm, sorta. We have to be able to have.
We have no farm animals, but we live on a farm. We do not. We do not farm any agriculture.
Farm the garden.
We farm a garden. Tomatoes.
Yeah, Mom's saying Keeper's Heart never disappoints.
No.
100% agree. They sent us photos of their drinks and what.
Oh
they're
my
having.
gosh, a coffee slushy with their Irish American.
Yeah, that looked. Damn good.
My gosh, put that in my belly now.
And as long as we can find a babysitter for the dog and things go as planned, we will be up at Keeper's Heart next weekend. Yes. So. Hint, hint,
I have
mom that's listening to the podcast.
What?
Yeah, I said hint, hint to mom that's listening to the podcast.
I like sometimes to have an espresso martini.
Mm-hmm.
I might have already said this. This might be a repeat on the show. I don't remember. But I have recently discovered you can ask them to swap out the vodka with bourbon, and an espresso martini with bourbon is the best.
Bomb.com?
Yes.
Bomb.com.
I'll never have a normal espresso martini again. It will be a bourbon espresso martini.
I'm always for swapping out another kind of liquor for whiskey. So
I've never thought about it before, and it is amazing.
Yeah. And you won't hear me argue with you. Should we talk about the quarterbacks?
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
we're breaking this down a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit differently
Thank you.
for everybody this show, because we've been going team by team and talking about going through like each team's quarterback, then their running backs, their wide receivers, and their tight end. And then we circle back about, well, who's the best value for quarterback? Who's the best? We're just going to bring you all of this division's quarterbacks, then we'll go into running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. So I'm just going to give you the stats on these guys. Does that work for you?
Yeah,
I'm going to go through and then we're going to talk about them.
Okay, that works for me.
All right. So for the Cowboys, we already talked about him. We've got Dak Prescott.
Rain Dakota Prescott is his actual given name.
We've got Dak Prescott. And last season, he brought in 351.8 fantasy points. He had 7 top 5 finishes. His current ADP, he's going around quarterback 9 with an AAV of $17. Last year, this sounds crazy. He was QB3.
Yeah.
And I
7
mean,
top 5 finishes, though. I mean,
yes. And we kind of, I'll circle back to
Okay.
my thoughts on him. I'm going to give you all the stats.
all right,
Okay.
let's do it.
So there we go. Dak Prescott coming in quarterback 3 last season, currently going at an AAV of QB9. For the Eagles, we've got Jalen Hurts, and he brought in 371.8 fantasy points, so 20 points more than Dak Prescott. He had 1 more top 5 finish with 8 top 5 finishes. He's currently going at an ADP. I don't know where I'm going here. It's been a long day. He's currently going at an ADP of QB2 with an AAV of $34. And last year, he was QB2. So we've got the QB3 and QB2 of last season in this division.
Yeah.
The-
As well as the QB 44.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. For the Giants, then we've got. He's reverting back to Daniel. When he was doing really good, he was like on fire for a little bit. We took off the IEL and he was just Dan Jones.
Dan the
when he was
man.
making shit happen. But now he's back to Daniel
Danny
Jones.
Dimes.
He only played 5 games. So this is kind of a big part of it.
I will say there's a lot of hype over his slow-mo throw videos that are on social media right now. Not in pads, no defense. Looks great.
So last season, he only brought in with those 5 games 63 fantasy points. One of those, though, was a top 5 finish. His ADP is currently going at QB 29 with an AAV of $1. And last year, he was QB 44. And then that brings us to the Commanders, who they've drafted rookie Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to say it for him. Who are the Commanders?
Who are the Commanders? And obviously, no points last year being a rookie. He's currently going around that QB 17 spot with an AAV of only $3.
Yeah. So,
and just with that, like, I do feel like he has like a higher rookie ceiling due to his rushing ability.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned it earlier, like think Justin
Fields rushing type ability, but he does throw better.
But with the better arm.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So why don't we jump right there? I mean, $3.
$3.
Now that's not considering in a dynasty or a keeper league.
I know. But if he is going for that in a keeper league, I am all in on that.
Yeah. No, I agree, especially because in fantasy football, you want the running quarterbacks. Running quarterbacks have higher ceilings each game because he might take off and scramble 40 yards, 50 yards a game. And so then you automatically add that 4 to 5 points in fantasy football. So I think $3 is undervalued. QB 17, probably about middle of the pack. That's
good. I didn't really disagree with that either. I kind of feel like somewhere around in there is probably pretty good for him. He's not going to go
for a rookie that we're unknown, that he has a lot of hype, but the Commanders haven't looked great. Now, I guess I shouldn't say that. Sam Howell was a top 12 quarterback last year. So Jaden Daniels, who runs a lot better, and they drafted him because they think he's more accurate and will give them better play. Maybe he has a shot at being a top 12 as like a very high end,
very high. So awesome if you can get him at that QB 17 and he does finish up there.
Yeah.
But I think that spot is pretty spot on.
Yeah. The spot is spot on.
We're gonna circle back to Dak.
Yeah, let's talk
The
about
spot
Rain
is spot
Dakota
on.
Prescott.
Is it spot on?
That's
on
what
the
you
spot?
told me.
I know, and I say things like this. It was similar to Cooper Kupp is Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp is
Makes
Cooper
sense
Kupp.
in my mind. All right, Dak Prescott. The SGPN in general rags on him every year.
Yeah, him, the Cowboys, everything.
The Cowboys. I mean, because he's from the Cowboys. And we tend to follow suit, but then sometimes you got to step back and think about this because he finished in fantasy QB3 last season.
Yeah, he continues to be good. You got to remember, the Sports Gambling Podcast Network started by an Eagles and a Giants fan. So
they're going to rag on the Cowboys.
Right.
And then we're going to kind of be biased to that.
Yeah.
Naturally. Every time I say naturally, I think of
naturally.
Yes, there you go.
The
Thank
people
you.
that your parents bought the cabin from.
Can't that hour of my life I heard naturally so many times.
Well, we went with the lighter carpet because you would want that in the sun.
It was okay. We are not doing this. We're not doing this. All right. Anyway, speaking of Dak, like I think, there's obviously likely a decline in this offensive line, losing those key pieces.
The worst offensive line he's probably played with.
Yes. So QB3 to me is his ceiling.
Right. And that's what he was last year, but he's being drafted at 9.
No, I know. I'm saying that's it.
So
he's not going to hit it again.
No.
He's not going to get better than that. He's not finishing. He finishes as QB1 and I don't know what you need to do. I don't know what I'll do. But it's not happening. Top 10 though, do you still see him in the top 10?
It's so hard not to use the anti-Dak Prescott bias, but I mean, we just talked about in the best bet, CeeDee Lamb, one of the best wide receivers in the league. No matter who else his competition is, as far as like he may have almost every target. I still think
that still equates to points for Dak,
and I think that still makes Dak a valuable fantasy football quarterback, and probably a top 10 to top 12 quarterback.
I could see top 12. I don't know if I'm ready to throw him in QB9.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to spend $17
on a quarterback that you're not super sold on a quarterback that, to me anyways, I know he can move some, but ever since he had his injury, he does not move as well. He doesn't take off as much. So for me to get a rushing quarterback, he's not considered one of the rushing quarterbacks. I'm not spending $17 either. Shout out to Jamie in the chat. What's up?
Hey, Jamie.
Rain Dakota sounds like a Disney pop star name.
It does.
He is kind of a Disney pop star.
Is he? How?
I
kind
of a lot of drama.
Well, a Disney.
Speaking of
okay, never mind.
Speaking of drama, he's wanting to kind of get paid. I don't think Jerry Jones is going to pay him. Trevor Lawrence just got a 5-year, $275 million extension. Big money. That's probably what Dak is kind of looking at. I don't think Jerry Jones is going to do it. So this could be the last year you see Rain Dakota Prescott as a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
That rushing ability is what gives him his good ceiling. So currently going at ADP of QB2, and that's what he finished at last year. But do you think he's going to regress?
Moneyline brought up a good point. No Jason Kelsey, so the tush push won't work as well.
I'm never going to not laugh at the tush push. I'm sorry. I'm such a child.
I did hear somebody call it the brotherly shove, but I think I'm too white to be able to call it that.
Brotherly shove.
Yeah, that's what they called it. He had a lot of rushing touchdowns because of the tush push. I don't think he's going to get as many this year. I think just naturally that regresses, so his points will drop some. Will it drop a ton? No, probably not. But do I think he's going to be QB2 again? No.
I see that as his ceiling. Top 5.
Yeah, I like top 5. $34 in his AAV is way too fucking much, in my opinion.
I just can't spend that. I don't spend that on quarterbacks.
If it's Patrick Mahomes, you do.
Well, that was different. Last year's.
Let's move on. Listener League.
It will never happen again. We will never partner like that again. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Not-
and it set us up for failure.
Not that our listeners or the league was horrible, just us
No, us.
co-managing a team.
We can't co-manage a fantasy football team together.
No,
This is never happening again.
I agree.
I won't do it.
Let's talk about Danny Dimes.
Will he keep the starting job all year?
I think so. I think he does.
Do you think the organization is close to being done with him?
That I also think, though. I think he's got a short leash.
Very short.
Yeah. Just much like myself.
Get out.
So
is this are you saying that this organization is close to being done with you? What are you saying?
He's probably worth $1 flyer. I mean, for $1,
Mhm.
you just drop him if he sucks or if he gets benched or hurt or whatever. QB 29, I mean, I think his ceiling is better than QB 29 by a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
In Superflex League, QB 29 is going as a bench player. I would be okay to start the year with him as my Superflex spot.
I would be okay in a super flex league.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, obviously, I'm not taking him as my QB2 and
In a standard league, one quarterback league.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I get that. That makes sense. Well, that's our quarterbacks. Let's right now. Why don't we just throw out?
Yes. Who is the biggest value here? Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels,
Best
biggest
value.
value. $3,
Best
QB
value.
17. I think
Mhm.
he's got a really high ceiling because of his rushing.
But who do we think has like
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts?
I mean, it's between Dak and Jalen, right? As the best. Jalen runs more,
Mhm.
so I think you have to give it to him.
That's
I would not pay the $34.
no.
I'm not drafting him as
But
QB2.
I do think
but
Jalen Hurts in this division is gonna definitely finishing. Like that's who I would want if I could get him.
Yeah.
I want him.
Right.
But I think that Daniels is the best value.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jamie asking who is the better fantasy manager between you two, and then said, "Wait, don't answer that. Someone will be sleeping on the couch tonight."
No, if you answer honestly,
it's obviously me.
no, it's me. Who's in the playoffs more?
Playoffs. I think
Playoffs?
me.
No, no. In the leagues we're in together,
Yeah, I think me.
I don't think so.
Hmm.
You don't get to because you have extra leagues, so you don't get to count those leagues.
Don't
Take
get
those
to
leagues
count
out.
those.
The leagues we are in together, which
You
is
did, I
about
will
like
say, in our
8.
dynasty league that we both joined, you did beat me in that and finished with a better
Mhm.
record. I finished in better in the Rumble.
I am in Nick's league. I am in the playoffs almost every single year.
Yeah, same.
No, you're not.
No, you're not. I will say though,
I have gone undefeated in fantasy football.
That's what I was getting ready to throw out. I have never.
I'm just gonna throw that card out there. I win.
I've never had an undefeated season in fantasy football.
So I win.
Miranda has. So, and hey, if you're looking to go undefeated in some betting props, you got to check out Rhythm, because if you're betting on the NBA player props, you need Rhythm. They give you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA final game, making it easy to go through and find the best props to put your money on in seconds. Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists and quants that focus on fine-tuning the algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs. Everybody loves a good graph when you're getting ready to bet, to help you feel more confident in your picks, which can make you make wherever you place your normal bets or your DFS picks. From superstars to bench players, Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data, without you need to endlessly scroll through every single sports book. I know we all have the apps. Rhythm also allows you to create your own NBA model, so you can get AI-backed moneyline spread and total picks for every playoff game. Claim your finals game. Claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time's now the authorized ticket marketplace for the Major League Baseball, which our good friend Cody Zeeb was just at a Major League Baseball game. He watched the Royals beat his Yankees. Sorry, Cody. Which makes getting tickets even faster and easier on Game Time. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer to the first pitch, and they got killer last-minute deals. All-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. And it's not just baseball, everybody. I mean, there's comedy shows, there's concerts, there's other sporting events, obviously. Save with these flash deals. Plus, you can see your seat before you get it. You get a panoramic view, so you know if there's no obstruction of your view. and it's the lowest price guarantee. They're not giving away this price guarantee thing just because they have to pay a lot of money. But if you find something in the same section for less, you get 110% of the difference, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I do want to point out real quick. Sorry, I'm writing something down. This I mentioned before, we don't have these memorized. I'm going off of an ad read, and the code is CFBX. Then it says spell out CFBX. Now, you always see these warnings like do not eat this on something that you obviously shouldn't eat, but somebody did it. So was somebody out there saying the code Cuffabix or what? I mean, I'm just confused. Like, what else you would do besides spell
How
out
do you
CFBX?
It already is spelled out.
I know that was the confusion for me. I'm glad you're seeing eye to eye there.
Yes.
Anyway, should we talk about running backs?
Yes, let's do.
All right. You want to lead it off?
Yeah. I'll kick us up. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna break it down for you again with stats here. We're gonna start with the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott or Rico Dowdle.
I think Zeke takes it. But
I do think Zeke takes it. So he brought in 149 fantasy points last season, one top 5 finish. His current ADP is RB40 with an AAV of $16. Last year he was RB32. Moving on to the Eagles.
Last year he was on Cody's team. Speaking of Cody,
he was. Now he's back. Zeke is back. All right. Eagles, Saquon Barkley. Last year, 202.7 fantasy points, 4 top 5 finishes, ADP of RB6 right now with an AAV of 48. And last year he came in at RB12, but he missed 4 games. The Giants have Devin Singletary, who brought in 152.3 fantasy points last season with 2 top 5 finishes. His ADP right now is RB33 with an AAV of $24. Last year, he came in 2 spots better at RB31.
Yeah.
And then the Commanders have Austin Eckler, which is so weird to say. He's on the Commanders this year. He brought in 159.9 fantasy points with 2 top 5 finishes. He's currently going around that RB31 spot with an AAV of $11.
It's crazy because last year he was going in as a top 5 running back.
Yes, but he finished really close to RB31. He finished at RB28.
Yeah.
He did miss 4 games.
Right. And they have another running back as long as he doesn't get shot.
Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Brought in I just caught what you said. I'm like,
do you remember his rookie year? He
yes,
got shot.
I know.
Okay.
What's wrong with you? Last on Tuesday, you were saying, "Oh, Tua, as long as he doesn't get a concussion, he's done. As long as he doesn't get injured." And now you're saying, as long as Brian, what is wrong with you? You talk so negatively about the worst case scenario for people.
I do have a Brian Robinson thing to say though. Have you seen the memes or I guess the shorts, the reels that have been going around with the monkey where he goes, "Oh no,
yes,
no." I saw one that said when you accidentally draft Brian Robinson at RB2 instead of Bijan Robinson, and it had the monkey. Oh no. Anyways, go on. Brian Robinson.
All right, Brian Robinson brought in 180.1 fantasy points last season with 2 top 5 finishes. He's going around that RB34 spot with an AAV of $11, and he was RB22 last season.
Yeah. So who you want to start with?
Let's start with the Commanders.
All right.
And then we'll circle back up to the Cowboys.
Who are the Commanders?
Who are they?
So
not the Redskins anymore.
I'm going to jump in real quick if you don't mind. I think this backfield is going to be, Brian Robinson's going to be your early down guy and your goal line guy, and Austin Eckler is going to be more of a pass catcher and finesse type guy, a little thunder and lightning. Now that can eat into each other's value, of course. But I don't think Eckler takes enough away from Brian Robinson to make him not valuable. I think 34 is too low for him. I like him in the 20 to 25 range, like he finished last year. And
you think he's going to finish in the same range that he finished last year with Eckler on the team?
Yeah, because I think in general they're going to be better. I think, with Jaden Daniels coming in there, though Jaden Daniels is going to steal some rushing too.
I know.
I didn't think about
They've
that.
got a rushing quarterback.
But I still
disagree.
I'm a Brian Robinson guy. You disagree?
I like Brian Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I like both of these quarterbacks, honestly.
Well, they're both
running back. Yes, running backs.
Now I got flustered.
I like both of these guys. I've always been a huge Eckler fan, though.
Yeah.
Love me, my Eckler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be maybe a challenge for Robinson to finish in that same spot he was, which is why he's going at RB 34 right now. That's why it's his ADP, because they do have a rushing quarterback coming in. They did bring in Eckler. Eckler's not going to just sit back and do nothing.
32 starting running backs. I don't think Brian Robinson.
30 what?
32 starting running backs in the league. I don't think Brian Robinson finishes behind all of them. But and Eckler, RB 31, so right around the same. $11, same. I think I'd rather have Brian Robinson. I love Eckler, but I think he's lost a step. I think he's going to be more in a complimentary role.
I would pay $11 for Eckler.
Would you? Just for the upside that he might still be the Eckler of old.
He finished RB 28 last. I know he has to share time with Brian Robinson, but he finished RB 28 because he missed 4 games.
Well, and he also looked a little inefficient, in my opinion. There
was some inefficiencies in general on that team last year.
That's true. All right. Well, we disagree on them. That's fine. You can have Eckler. I'll take Brian Robinson.
The Chargers had an off year and then they just broke up. The boy band.
The band broke up.
Yeah, the boy band broke up.
Who was Yoko? Jim Harbaugh was Yoko. Let's talk about the Cowboys.
All right.
With Zeke. And real quick, while we're doing that, Jamie pointing out, fun fact, Zeke was the leading pass catcher on the Patriots last year. I think that's more of a diss to their wide receivers than a credit to Zeke, but that's just my opinion. Sorry, Cody.
Sorry, Cody. We're back to that again. Sorry, Cody. We haven't said it in a while, so we need to apologize.
Right.
We need to say something horrible about your team, and then we need to apologize to you.
Sorry, Cody.
Sorry, Cody.
Yeah,
that just needs to be a hashtag for our show. Sorry, Cody.
Sorry, Cody.
All right. Anyway, he's had some really good years with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Do you think after taking a break from them for a year, he comes back? He's back on the team.
Well,
what?
Oh, I was going to say, here's my thoughts on Zeke. Is he going to be that top 12 running back that he was 3 years ago for them? No, I don't think so. But I do think it was odd that he didn't land anywhere until the Patriots picked him up. Then I know he played behind Ramondre, but he still did fairly well when he got in there. When Ramondre was hurt, he had his top 5 finish. I think RB 40 is too low for Zeke. I would draft Zeke. Honestly, I'm going to put him in my top 25. I think Zeke is going to enjoy this return back to the Cowboys. I know that's kind of crazy. I know he's older. I know everybody makes fun of him because he doesn't wear shirts that fit, but I think Zeke has some sneaky value this year. If you're drafting him at RB 40, I think it's sneaky.
I think, sleeperish.
Yeah, sleeperish.
Yeah.
RD saying Eckler will be the Pollard of 2022, so that would be a very good finish for Eckler.
Yes.
Let's talk about Saquon.
All right, let's do this. This is the best team he's been on.
It is.
It's going to be, in my opinion, the best offensive line he's had.
Yeah.
So I think the real question here is, having Jalen Hurts as the quarterback, is he going to steal touchdowns from Saquon?
Yeah, I don't think as much as he did steal from DeAndre Swift last year, to be honest. I think Saquon's going to make a big impact for this offense, and I think Saquon is going to do very well. RB6 is probably about accurate, though.
I see him. Yeah, top 10. I mean, he finished outside the top 10 last year. I do see him back in that top 10 this year.
We mentioned we need to get our rankings in order so we can reference them. I do think I'll have him in the top 5, though. I'm just going to say it now.
Homework for me. I'm not going to say the drive up tomorrow to South Dakota because I'll be working.
Back. Okay, maybe the drive back though.
Maybe.
Okay.
Start analyzing my rankings.
Sports nonsense and whiskey checking in. Cheers, guys. Saquon has a shot at RB1. He does. I don't think he steals it from CMC or Bijan, but he definitely has that shot for sure.
You see him as RB3?
Yeah, he's in my top 5. Where he's going to land in my top 5. I actually think it's CMC, Bijan, Brees, Saquon. That's how I have him. Just shooting from the hip there. But anyways, let's talk about the Giants. Devin Singletary. Yes. We kind of mentioned him already. That he's getting shat on a little bit. People are, he's not Saquon Barkley.
He's not.
But he doesn't have to be, I don't think. Now, does that equal fantasy football success?
No.
I mean, RB33 is probably about accurate. Your flex piece running back that you're getting as a backup depth. $24 in AAV though is too much.
When I was looking at that, I was like, ooh, that doesn't sit well with me. No.
It's interesting. I know he's reunited with Brian Dabble. He had success with him in Buffalo, but you have RB33 ADP going for $24.
You have Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson going for $11.
Yeah. One of those things that doesn't
right around him, right before and after. Like,
doesn't make
I'm going with
sense.
Eckler and Robinson over Singletary.
Yep. I agree.
So that's something, some of the pricing, like, of where they're going at is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird to me.
And as RD has pointed out when he was on our show and in the chat, you got to take that with a grain of salt because it is mock drafting.
So best value.
Oh yeah. For me, it's Brian Robinson.
I would say Eckler and Robinson together. I can't pick.
You liked Eckler better, so.
But he is old, sir.
No, we're pitting against each other here.
Fine.
And then the best is Saquon.
Yeah. I hands down taking Saquon
all
if
right.
I had a choice out of all these guys.
Let's fly through these receivers.
We're gonna fly. We keep saying we're gonna fly through
I know.
these.
We need to get quicker.
All right. Here's your stats for you on these wide receivers. The Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. He brought in 335.7 fantasy points last season with 6 top 5 finishes. He's currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 1 with an AAV of $52. Last year, he was the wide receiver 1.
Let's just get that out of the way. Don't overthink it. He's probably going to be a top. I mean, that's obviously his peak. He can't get better than that. But if I have a shot at drafting him as the top wide receiver off the board, I will.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Are you going to spend $52 on him, though, in auction?
I will.
You will.
Yeah.
He will.
He had 1,749 yards. Can he maintain that? Maybe not. But, I mean, you like the bet of him going over
right.
it.
I was just going to say, he had the 1,749 receiving yards last season. He's going to get that or more.
People say that's not sustainable, but I mean, Tyreek Hill has had 2 monster years that were sustainable.
And if the Cowboys are, playing from behind, they've got to throw the ball. And he is, like we said,
he's
their
the
offense. He's their guy. So I like that.
Yeah.
I will be in competition with you for that.
That's fair.
We will be yelling at each other across the house. That's how it works every year.
Blowing our load on Lamb.
Yes. Wad. All right. They've also got Brandon Cooks, though. Just wide receiver 36 last year.
Yeah.
Not going to break down his stats. Eagles have AJ Brown, 236.6 fantasy points last year with 3 top 5 finishes. He's going at an ADP of wide receiver 7 with an average auction value of $36. Last year, he was wide receiver. Like, these guys are going for exactly what they were.
Yeah.
Last year, I want to talk about him.
Yeah.
Last year was one of his best years.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, like, that I'm, thinking about is, like, does he pick up like where he was and keep it going.
I think he drops a little bit. I'm not drafting him as my wide receiver 7, and I don't think I want to spend $36. I mean, I think the Eagles are regressing a little in general.
I disagree with you. Okay, maybe, but I disagree with you on Brown. I don't think I can agree with you. I still see him. I don't know 7, but top 10. I still have him in my. I would have him in my top 10.
Okay.
So maybe wide receiver 8. I don't know, but somewhere in there.
I think Saquon factors into this equation too, because as much as Swift was able to do, I think Saquon's a lot better, and they got to get him more touches than they got Swift, which will take looks away from AJ Brown and their other wide receiver, Devonta Smith. But you're still in on Brown.
I like Brown.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
We disagree. That's all right.
All right. I will give you stats on Devonta Smith. He brought in 187.1 fantasy points last season with 1 top 5 finish. He's currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 22 with an average auction value of $16. Sorry, I know. And last year, so that he's sliding back 2 spots right now in drafts.
Yeah.
He finished as wide receiver 20.
And he was top 14 2 years ago, maybe even top 12. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think you're starting to see him kind of.
I do think
it's not that
he is going to be less relevant in
Agreed. For the same reasons that I think AJ Brown is.
I can see it. I can see it with Saquon and him.
You can't see it with.
I don't know if I can. I just can't get.
That's fair.
So
they also have Paris Campbell. He doesn't excite me. Anus Smith. I know it's not anus, but
Aeneas, something. Not anus. Thank you. All right, Giants. Get out of here. Malik Neighbors. He's the rookie, currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 24 with an average auction value of $14.
I'll have something to say on him, if you don't mind.
Go ahead. Go for it then.
So I think Malik Neighbors could be very talented and very good, but in a redraft league, I'm not going to be the guy that drafts him as a wide receiver 2, because wide receiver 24 is in a 12-person league is a second. I'm not going to be the one that drafts him and he's a bust. I can't do it. Dynasty is completely different, but in a redraft league, I just can't take a risk on him.
Interesting. Okay, so I think that he's looking good in camp with Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen him we've seen him have some of those one-handed Odell Beckham grabs.
No, it's like flashbacks. Yeah.
Yes. I think he, like you said, he has a lot of talent. I don't know. You're making me think on him now, but yeah, I know non-redraft. Yes, do it.
Yeah. $14 even. I might spend the $14 in a redraft. I'm not drafting him as my wide receiver 2 in a redraft league. I would spend
in a redraft
14,
auction.
Yeah. 10 to 15 as a flyer, but I'm not going to draft him as my wide receiver 2.
Okay.
They have another young guy that they brought in last year as a rookie.
Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah. Which.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening to me. Last year, I don't know. I don't know if you can judge this, but 48.8 points.
Yeah.
No
terrible.
top 5 finishes. Finishes wide receiver 87. No, he didn't finish there. He finished worse, 98. He's going at 87 right now.
Right.
With an AAV of $1.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was a lot of things going on, I think, with him and not catching on as quick. And then, of course, you had Danny Dimes get hurt. You have Tommy DeVito come in. And Jalen Hyatt he didn't have any success. He struggled a lot, but I don't know if that means he's going to struggle this year too. He's getting a ton of hype as being very improved.
Mm-hmm.
But if you believe in Malik Neighbors, can the Giants offense support 2 wide receivers? I think that's the biggest question. Not just them in general, but can Daniel Jones?
Because he's not Dan anymore.
No, he's not Dan the fucking man. He's Daniel Jones. Can he support 2 fantasy football relevant wide receivers? I don't think he can. If I'm taking a flyer on any of these guys, it's Malik Neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. We've got the Commanders.
Who are the Commanders?
Terry McLaurin brought in 163.7 fantasy points last season with 1 top 5 finish, and he finished as wide receiver 32, which is what he's going for with for his ADP with an AAV of $9.
Yeah. That's interesting because
Mhm.
Scary Terry is a very talented person. But I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
I don't know. I like him, but he's going from Sam Howell, who threw the
Mhm.
ball a lot. I mean, when we do our cert throws a lot in the in season, we said Sam Howell many times.
It's true. That's
So
true.
now he's going to Jaden Daniels, who is not just that throwing quarterback. He's going to be rushing. He's going to run more. And is that going to affect production for Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, no, I think that's a
fantasy.
great point. Wide receiver 32, though. I mean, I think that's fair. Because he does
I
have
like
a lot of
it.
upside.
I mean,
$9, I think, is good.
I like the value.
Yeah.
The value.
If I get a flex piece, $9, who could end up being a wide receiver 2 ceiling, I like it. Jamie pointing out, you said Daniel Jones, you mean Drew Lock. That's very true. That's kind of, we talked about that short leash. The good thing is this year, if Daniel Jones does get hurt, they have Drew Lock, who, in Seattle last year when he played in some games, he kind of balled out. And I think he's got a lot more talent than Tommy DeVito. So he could help kind of DeVito. He could help keep that offense afloat.
Yes. They've also got Jahan Dotson. Last year he brought in 100.3 fantasy points, no top 5 finishes. He came in at wide receiver 56, and he's currently going at an ADP of wide receiver 61 with an AAV of $1. He is a speedy, big play guy, but can he be fantasy relevant with a big armed quarterback like Daniels?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a bigger armed quarterback now, so that helps. See, I feel like he's overdrafted every year. Every year, somebody in like the wide receiver 35 to 40, they pick up Jahan Dotson, hoping he's going to do well, and he just never really pans out. And because of that, you get like that. He's one of those guys that you get a bad taste in your mouth from him. You know what that's like? Sorry. I couldn't help myself. So I'm staying away from him. Are you drafting Jahan Dotson?
No, I wasn't. I was going to say no. I think I'm going to stay away from this guy. There you go. They've also got a rookie, Luke McCaffrey.
It's hard not to take a flyer on a McCaffrey. I mean, I know he's not Christian.
For $1, Bob.
He is
$1.
For $1, which is what he's going for. I mean, maybe he's worth the flyer because it is the McCaffrey bloodline, Ed McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey. So anyways.
So best value wide receiver here.
Best value. Oof. Terry McLaurin for me. Wide receiver 32, $9 for somebody that could be a potential wide receiver 2 ceiling. I like it. I mean, I feel like either the others are too high or I don't think they're going to perform where they.
I don't know. I like Malik Neighbors.
You like Malik?
That's who I like. And if I could have any of them, obviously I'm taking CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, he's
or
the
AJ
best.
Brown.
CeeDee Lamb's the best.
Obviously, yes, best in my opinion, but I'd also take AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't.
No.
So, all right, let's move on to tight ends. Let's do this. Cowboys have Jake Ferguson, who brought in 141.6 fantasy points with 3 top 5 finishes. He came in as a top 10 tight end last season, tight end number 8. He's going at an ADP of tight end 9 with an AAV of $11. Much like CD with the offensive line issues that the Cowboys are having, and the running back room issues, do you think he can maintain his consistency?
I was surprised he did so well last year.
I was too.
So I think maybe you saw him a little bit more of a fluky ceiling from him.
A fluky?
Yeah, and I don't think he gets there again, to be honest. So I'm staying away from Jake Ferguson personally.
He's not my target tight end.
No.
The Eagles have Dallas Goedert, who brought in 106.8 fantasy points last season with 3 top 5 finishes. He finished as tight end 15. He's currently up 3 spots at an ADP of tight end 12 with an AAV of $7. If he stays healthy, he is a big part of the Eagles offense.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one guy that if I'm taking a flyer on a pass catcher, I'm going to take a tight end 12 on Dallas Goedert or $7 on
so
Dallas
that
Goedert.
I should throw it out there too. Like he finished tight end 15 last year, but he also missed 3 games.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, obviously, if anybody doesn't get injured, they're going to finish better than they finished. But I do see him as top 12 tight end.
Agreed.
The Giants have Daniel Bellinger.
Yeah, and rookie Theo Johnson because Darren Waller retired. Yeah, he went through a bad breakup or divorce with she's the basketball player, Plum, well, I think. And then he made a rap album or a rap song that was terrible, and now he retired. I mean, the man's just in shambles.
Poor Darren Waller. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I don't think we need to discuss either of these guys in terms of fantasy relevancy. Like
you're desperate if you're drafting them, unless it's a dynasty and you want Theo Johnson for an upside, in my opinion.
Potentially.
Yeah.
The Commanders have Zach Ertz. He is currently going around an ADP of tight end 35 with an AAV of $1. He's old.
Yeah.
He's past his prime. More often, I feel like he's injured. I'm gonna stay away from Ertz.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know Moneyline said like they brought Ertz in. I do think he's a good football player. I just don't think he's fantasy football relevant.
They've also got I'm gonna mispronounce this. Ben Sinnott. All right, I didn't mispronounce it. He's currently going at an ADP of tight end 25 with an AAV of $1. Dynasty keeper leagues, I could see it.
I love this guy's upside.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of potential. I'm not gonna say he's the same Laporta where you go all in like I was last year. But I would pick him up in Dynasty.
Yeah, he's my second ranked rookie tight end behind Brock Bowers, and then it's Ben Snott. I love this guy. I think he's going to have a good career, and I think you're going to see some good games from him this year. It's not going to be a consistent top 12 type of tight end type of deal.
But it is like if you're planning in your dynasty leagues, like you need to think of you should always be thinking of the future of the league. So of your team.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And he is somebody I think, yes, $1, pick him up. Yeah. So let's recap these tight ends. Like who are you going like picking up no matter what?
No matter what, like best value or just
not
best
value.
Player, Dallas Goedert. That's the one I'm taking no matter what.
Because I do see him of all these guys. I see him as a top 12 tight end.
Yeah. And my best value is Ben Snott. I think he could have some sneaky good games. He's got high potential. I mean, really. But if you're looking at value, Dallas Goedert for $7 is really good value too. Because I do think he finishes in the top 12 of tight ends.
Yeah,
so
and
for only $7
right now with like Jake Ferguson going at $4 more, and I don't see him being he's not going to be I don't know. I don't think I see him being top 12.
Ferguson?
Yeah,
I don't think I do either.
So yes, $7 in Dallas Goedert.
Yeah. Just catching up with the chat real quick before we get out of here. Jamie says hot take McLaurin is top 12 this year. Sports Nonsense Whiskey says Scary Terry best value with chance of great upside, and that Goddard is going to smash this year. Smash. RD said getting a little prone to injury the last few years, but big upside. Jamie said Waller had a near-death experience last year, and RD said that's what happens when you get traded to the Giants. And Jamie's hopping off. Good luck on your pod. Since we're getting ready to leave, go right over to the fantasy assessment at Going for Two. Check out their stuff. Jamie's going to be breaking down one of the dynasty teams with his guys there. So always a good listen. Miranda, I think we covered it all. The NFC least or beast or whatever you want to call it. Do you have anything else you want to add aside from, well, I won't steal your thunder. I'll let you start first. Do you have anything else you want to add before I do?
You won't steal my thunder.
Just
How
in case
kind.
we were going to say the same
You won't make me
thing.
fresh dinner either. That
chicken was delicious, and
it
you know
was. You spatchcocked that chicken so well, honey.
Yes.
I just want to give a shout out to Moneyline Mac and thank him for joining us on the show again. And
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get the opportunity, or I know you continued. You didn't steal my thunder, but you just kept going. I didn't get to brag about his picks because both of you, if any of our listeners have ever listened to the NFL gambling podcast, you guys like hit it on the money.
We made some good money.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to take away from my picks that I'm partial to that I made. But people should listen to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's adding the best bets is fun. It's fun diving into those betting markets. Whiskey of the day, since we're getting ready to hit the road, we don't have whiskey, but it is Keeper's Heart.
We are doing like a Keeper's Heart week. We drank their ready to serve old fashioned on Tuesday's show, and we would be having Keeper's Heart right now if we weren't about to get in the car.
Out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and tomorrow is National Old Fashioned Day.
It is. And we are celebrating National Old Fashioned Day by partnering with Keeper's Heart. We've got some content that we're going to be releasing for everybody tomorrow, so stay tuned.
And what better way to celebrate Old Fashioned Day than to either have an old fashioned or go to Apple and leave us a 5-star review, because that helps us a lot.
It sure does.
Share the pod on YouTube with your friends or something. Tell them they need to subscribe. All that helps us grow. The reviews help a lot. It can be Spotify too, just the Apple ones. You can actually put words with those so they pop up more and it hits the algorithms a little bit more. But all of it helps. We appreciate the listeners. We appreciate all of you. And we appreciate Keeper's Heart. We look forward to being there in a little over a week. Miranda, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
You covered it well, Justin.
All right. I don't have an old fashioned, but the bar is closed. Going once, going twice.
Sold.